Wild Time Cooking with Allison Davis is brought to you by Corman Kitchen and Bath.
Welcome back to Midday Kentucky. Chef Allison Davis here in the Wild Time Kitchen. And this week I am talking about some American classics. It's actually the perfect time of year for some fresh peaches. So we are going to go with a classic American peach cobbler. And cobbler, there are debates. It cannot have a crumble top. It needs a biscuit top in order to be a true crumble. So in a way, we're kind of making a traditional classic biscuit along with the cobbler. So the first thing I've got to start with is our peaches. I've got just fresh peaches here sliced. We're going to throw these into a bowl, and we're just going to season these a little bit, and then they're going to go right into our pan. There's going to be tons of liquid and juice that comes, straight from the peaches, but we are going to add, I like to add a little bit of cinnamon sugar, so I just have some already made up cinnamon sugar that I just kind of keep in the pantry, which is handy. I love adding a little bit of citrus into my cobbler, so I'm going to go with a little bit of fresh lemon zest in here with the peaches. You could add a touch of vanilla too if you like. And then we're just going to add a little bit of flour, like maybe 2 tablespoons of fresh, just all-purpose flour, and then just kind of mix that up, and that is going to be the filling or the middle of our cobbler. So the flour really is just to kind of thicken and help thicken those juices whenever it cooks. All right? So easy enough, right? We're done. We've got our filling. We're going into a just casserole pan. We're just going to pour all those peaches in there. And now we're going to make our biscuit top. Try to get it in the pan. All right, so we have this. We'll set this aside, and we're going to make our biscuit topping. All right, so classic biscuit. You're going to start with an all-purpose flour. I'm going to go with roughly 1 1/4 cup of flour. Okay, so just kind of level it off. And a 1/4 cup. We're going to add about a 1/4 cup of sugar into this, since this is going to be more of a sweet biscuit topping. And then we also have our baking powder. You can't forget your baking powder. And we're going to cut in some butter. All right, so that's the true test with cutting in the butter for a biscuit. You gotta have to break it up, and that's what's going to make for a nice flaky biscuit. So I've got our butter here that we're just going to crumble and kind of break up, and that is going to help us to have these nice flaky biscuits, as they come together. All right, so you can see just after working this butter a little bit, we want it to kind of resemble some coarse meal, like pea-sized shapes, just broke up into the butter. You always want to use cold butter too. That way it holds its shape. It doesn't melt in your hands as you're breaking it up. Another just convenient hack, if you want to, you can throw all of this in the food processor, pulse it a couple times, and it'll break up the butter and do that for you. All right, the last thing for our biscuit topping is we're going to add some heavy cream. Yes, I said it, heavy cream into our flour, our sugar, our baking powder, and butter mixture. We're just going to mix this together. This is more of like a wet biscuit dough, right? Because we're not going to be, rolling this out and cutting biscuits. This is kind of like a drop biscuit, so to speak. And that is roughly it. The last thing I always like to add is just a touch of salt, because anytime I do a dessert, I like to have just a hint of salt in there with it. All right, so we're going to bring our peaches back over. And we are going to just take our little biscuit topping and just start dropping some mounds right on top of our peaches. All right, this is going to go in the oven at 350, and it's going to just bake until that topping gets nice and brown. Our biscuits are cooked off. Everything's nice and bubbly. And then, all right, our cobbler is finished, just came out of the oven. You can see how that biscuit topping just kind of spread all over it. And we are just going to dive right in. I'll let it cool for just a little bit. Honestly, it could probably go a little bit more, and it settles back in so that all those juices are together. But that's just gorgeous. This is a fantastic go-to.
When I got injured, I didn't know what to do. I thought the insurance company was being helpful, but then they tried to push me to sign a settlement.
With a little bit of vanilla ice cream, and you are good to go. All right, this classic American dessert, you know where to go, middaykentucky.com/recipes tab. I'm Chef Allison Davis. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be right back after this short break.